20 million people died in the trenches and battlefields of the First World War. History often frames this mass mobilization as the inevitable result of European imperialism and militarism, a powder keg that was always going to explode. The spark for that devastating explosion arrived on June 28, 1914, when Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary arrived in Sarajevo. He was accompanied on this fateful trip by his wife, Duchess Sophie. The assassination that followed is usually taught as a deliberate success, yet the actual event was a bungled disaster. The plot only succeeded because the original organized mission failed so thoroughly. By noon that day, the assassins were scattered and the Archduke was unharmed. If history was set on a collision course, it had for those hours missed its mark. The Black Hand nationalist group had stationed 7 assassins along the Apple Quay. Every man was armed with a grenade or a pistol, waiting for the Archduke's open-top car to pass their specific position. The first assassin to act threw a grenade that bounced off the car's folded roof and detonated under the vehicle following them. The driver saw the threat, accelerated, and sped the Archduke away. Within seconds of the attack, the panicked driver pushed the heavy motorcade forward, and they successfully cleared the kill zone, leaving the immediate threat behind. The remaining assassins along the route stood by and watched the car pass. Some lost their nerve, others were simply blocked by the crowd. The plot was dead. The Archduke reached the town hall, the security threat had passed, and the catastrophic war that history calls inevitable had seemingly been averted. Safe inside the Sarajevo City Hall, the Archduke was furious about the attack, but his schedule continued. General Potpourri, the military governor, suggested a change of plans. To show Habsburg goodwill, the Archduke would visit the officers wounded in the morning's grenade blast at the local hospital. They agreed on a new route, but the lead driver, Leopold Leuke, was never informed. Leuke followed his original instructions out of habit. He turned the motorcade onto Franz Joseph Street, steering the Archduke right back into the danger he had just escaped. This mundane administrative failure, a simple breakdown in communication between a governor and a driver, dragged the world back to the brink. Gavrilo Princip had given up. Having watched the motorcade disappear earlier that morning, the 19-year-old wandered away from the river, convinced the mission was over. He stopped outside Schiller's Delicatessen, standing on the sidewalk purely by coincidence. As the motorcade rolled past him, General Potpourri realized the error and yelled to stop. Leuke braked and shifted into reverse to exit the narrow street. The car's engine violently stalled. The heavy vehicle drifted to a halt exactly in front of the Delicatessen. Princip looked up and found his target immobilized just 5 feet away. He fired twice, striking the Archduke in the neck and Sophie in the abdomen. Both were dead within the hour. In those seconds, the distance between peace and a global conflict was measured by a few feet and a mechanical failure. The geopolitical fallout was relentless. Austria blamed Serbia and issued an impossible ultimatum, beginning a 37-day countdown to total war. Russia mobilized for Serbia. Germany declared war on Russia and France. Germany invaded Belgium, and Britain declared war on Germany. The 5-foot gap in Sarajevo had successfully ignited the massive military machinery of the entire continent. Alliances and militarism created the pressure, but they behaved as directional tendencies rather than certainties. Broad historical forces create the conditions for disaster, but the disaster itself still requires a physical, accidental spark. The record of the past is filled with near misses that successfully bypassed catastrophe. The events of June 28th, the wrong turn, missing memo, and stalled engine, were the infinitesimal variables determining the next 4 years of slaughter. Sarajevo was simply the near miss that didn't miss. It suggests that the most destructive events in our world are balanced on an incredibly thin, purely accidental edge.